Good morning and welcome to another video. As you can see behind me, down this tiny little river today. I thought after the last video, and if you've not seen that, I'll stick a link up there for you and down in the description. After the last video, I felt I owed this river a little bit. We had a very, very difficult time. If you've seen that video, you'll remember. Right, we've got some professional skyliners over there for us. As I was saying, I felt like I owe this river a little bit. We had a very, very difficult session. The fish didn't seem to be interested in the slightest. We managed to winkle that one chub out and that was it. But we had lots and lots of bites of smaller fish. And that video as well, I tried to do a little bit of trotting, but it was just a bit too coloured, this river. But I've left it a few days and it looks to have cleared. It looks a lot clearer than it was. Certainly, I would say twice as clear. There's probably now at least a foot, maybe pushing 18 inches of visibility. So with that in mind, I've grabbed the trotting gear. I've not ventured too far from the car. And I've come to this swim here where historically I've caught a few roach many, many years ago, sort of on the maggot feeder. I think I might have even float fished in here again. Now I did consider going back to the stretch that we fished in the last video. However, it's Saturday morning. It'll be like crufts down there this morning. So I'm staying well clear. Because it'll be, we won't get any peace there at all. Now bait wise, I've got some maggots with me. I have got some bread and some mashed bread, but I'm going to try and concentrate on maggots today. Because it'd be nice to try and just catch a bit of whatever's in here, really. That's the plan. I'm not sure how well we're going to do in here with these fellas disturbing the place, but we've got a few swims we can try downstream. What I've done is, I should mention, it's freezing literally this morning. 0.5 degree on my car, it's frost everywhere, so that doesn't bode well either, but hopefully the river temperature has stayed up. It was about 7.5 degrees last time we came out. So anyway, enough waffle, let's get onto the gear. Advanta X5 float rod, 13 foot, Dow 125M close face reel, small Drake alloy stem stick float there, shouldered stick float, so it's nice and sensitive. Simple as that. Right, I'm going to keep feeding these maggots in. Our main idea today is feed maggots. If we can't get a swim going, I'll feed a little bit of mashed bread as well, but concentrate on maggots. And just see what we can catch. Fancy a nice mixed bag of all sorts of everything. That's the plan. Right, as I say, enough waffle. Let's get cracking. Well, a very tight, intimate little swim this. I've not fished it for a while, so I'm not sure what we're going to catch, if anything. Especially with these fellas making absolute rackets on the other side. As I say, I just fancy a nice sort of mixed bag today. That would be ideal. Perhaps a few bigger fish dotted in there. You know, the idea of fishing maggots is that we'll catch pretty much anything, really. That's the plan. Now I'll stick all the information on all the gear I'm using down in the description if you want to go and have a look. Exactly what I'm using. We'll see if we can get a few bites. Just run the float through, we can hold that back. I'm just going to play with the depth until we get it near the bottom. I think that'll be the place to get bites. That's gone through unhindered. Just hope we can have a few bites. A bit of waste of time last time we trotted. Trotted for a good half an hour or so. I did think it was perhaps a bit coloured, and so it seemed. It was a no-go, non-starter. Hopefully today will be a bit different. I'm guessing the fish may be a bit shoaled up as well, so if we hit on some, hopefully we can have a few bites. Might catch some nice perch, roach, gudgeon, who knows. Getting a bite would be a good start. We're in. Hooray, first bite, right under the tree. Fab. I was just thinking, I'm going to move. There's nothing happening in here. Cracking. I don't feel a bad fish. What we got? Probably a roach or something. It looks a reasonable roach. That's no monster, but that's a cracking roach to get on the float. Wonderful. Well, that's a start, isn't it? Well, how's about that? Handful of roach from a tiny little river. Wonderful. Well, that is fantastic. If the roach are feeding, absolutely awesome. I say I was starting to wonder a little bit whether we were going to get a bite. I was just thinking perhaps these cows have made too much noise. Well, calves have made too much noise. They're knocking a tree down over there. You'll see if I spin you around. Literally knocking a tree down. The ground's shaking. And they are losing interest, fortunately. We'll just keep the fish in the keep net, landing net. I'm not bothered with the keep net today. I don't think we'll be sticking it out in one swim long enough. I've got this nice deep landing net. We can keep them in there and then move on. I don't think we're going to bag up in any particular swim. But yeah, a bit of knowledge from a few years ago. Told me there might be some roach in here. That's cracking. Oh, I thought that was another one. Right in the same place. I'm just trickling maggots in as well. I'm not feeding at all heavily, maybe 2 or 3 every sort of 30 seconds. I'm certainly not filling the place in. Blimey, scared themselves now. Well, they're off. Hooray. And another one. Fab. Just round that corner. I'm getting this bite just round the corner. Oh, this is lovely on this light trotting setup. It's another one. It's a bit smaller. I think you could probably swing this one just about. Or is it a dace? Oh, it's a dace. Look at that dace. How about that for a dace? Wonderful. This is exactly what I was hoping for. So, seems they're hanging about under that tree, as you sort of might expect. It's about 4 foot deep, something like that. So, God, my hands are cold. So, I'm throwing the maggots in right in front of me just so they've got time to sink before they get around the corner. This is brilliant. I'm loving this. I've only had 2 fish. And I'm happy. Now I've got some red maggots, some white maggots and some bronze maggots. I'm just using bronze ones at the moment. Size 18, specialist wide gape. In case we encounter Mr. Chub, which is a possibility. Could encounter anything in this river. Well, not anything, but you take my point. Yeah, right under that branch we're getting these bites. But it may well be that they move out to intercept these maggots. Just trying to steer it round past. We can hold it back right in the bite zone. It goes down there anyway. I think there's a bit of an obstruction on the bottom. Whether that I'm missing a few bites, but it seems to go down there quite a lot. Well, if we have a bit of sport like this out of 3 swims, that'll be fantastic. Like I say, we've got a chance of a big perch, big chub, who knows what, big roach even, but I think it's the weather today for a big roach, but you never know. Only a very short run this, obviously. Some of the swims will fish. We'll get much longer runs in than this. Ah, around the corner that time. Just let it run a little bit further. There's the roach, just about to swing her. That's a nice stamp of roach we're catching. Just about to swing that in. God, this is lovely. It is freezing cold, but it's lovely. We have an awkward swim. There's a very, very tight swim to fish. Well, I'll call it a swim. It's not even a swim, really. Yeah, we're just starting to get these bites a bit further around that corner. I ran that just on the inside. Obviously, the current is going on the far side, going under that tree. I just ran a bit short that time, just to this side of this tree. We had that bite. And again, look. Perfect. Cool. It's almost about a chunk now. What's this? It's fighting like crazy. What is it? Oh, it's a dace. There's a dace, look. Absolutely fantastic. That's a cracking dace. Look at that, longer than my hand. Wonderful. Well, the sun was trying to come out this morning as I was getting here at dawn. But fortunately, it's stopped and it's clouded over as promised. That's part of the reason I came out, really. Tomorrow's looking like a better day, but I can't get out tomorrow morning. So it was this morning or nothing. I had to come out in the bitey morning. It's a lot milder tomorrow morning. Right, there's not even any point in dropping that in there, is there? Let's drop it right out there. Give it a couple of metres to settle. Then we're straight into the bite area. Just run that round in front of that tree. Around about there is where I've been getting bites. There you go. This is a tiddler. Certainly a shoulder fish down there. Such a simpler way of fishing as well. Just a float and a pint of maggots. I've not had to introduce any bread at all. It's took sort of 10 minutes or so to get them going, but it's pretty much bite a chuck now. Another lovely roach. This is cracking. Absolutely loving it. All right, it's Farmer's dog. Hello. I presume it's Farmer's dog anyway. He's looking at me with that look of, there's not normally someone over there. Yeah, same place every run through now. This is ridiculous. At this rate, we are going to have to get the keep net. Ridiculous in a good way, of course. Now, I get asked quite often about this this pouch I've got on here that I usually use with mashed bread. But it's equally as good for maggots. It's actually it's a fox one, it's a carp one, really. I don't know what it's for, boilies or some such thing. It's called it's fox. Aquos because it's waterproof, I guess. It's called bait belt. This is a smaller one. This is a 5 litre. I think it's 5 litre or 4 litre. But it's perfect for mashed bread, maggots, etc. I didn't even see a bite then. Come on. Well, decent roach so far, as you'd possibly expect. Now I do want to move on, but I'm not moving off fish. And it's literally a bite of chuck at the moment. Well, it looks like it might be time to move on. We've gone about 10 minutes without a bite. We've either upset them so much that they've moved, or we've upset them so much that they're not feeding anymore, or we've caught them all, but I doubt if we've caught them all. I think we've caught most of the fish in here, or they've spooked, or some such thing. I did give it 10 minutes just on the off chance that perhaps some chub or perch or something had moved in and moved the little ones off, but we've not had anything, so I think it's probably time for a move. Yeah, we'll have a move. Right, look what we've caught in there. A nice net of fish in there. I'm not going to mess them about too much. Some nice roach actually. I think that's about the biggest one. That's a cracker. Absolutely fantastic. Wonderful stuff. There's I think a couple of reasonable roach in there. We'll get them straight back. But that's been a lovely little catch from this swim. Wonderful. Cracking up, chaps. Lovely job. Right, let's go and see what else we can find. So I thought we'd do this swim next up. This is a swim where we had a chub out from that raft down there a few weeks ago on mashed bread. But we're running off some shallower water into this deeper area, and then obviously there's that cover. So I'm wondering if there's anything else holding up in here. 2 species so far, roach and dace. Be nice to have a few more, although it is winter at the end of the day. Can't expect too much. Talking of that, we'll do the water temperature. Be interesting to see if it's up or down from last time we were here. The fact that the ground is solid with frost, it tells me it might be a bit lower. This time last week it was 1.7 degree the water. Then middle of this week it was 7.4. It has gone down by the looks of it. Showing 6.8 there at the moment. It's just on its way up a little bit though. Right, let's see what we can do. We'll sprinkle some maggots in, see if we can get anything going. As I say, if we struggle, we try a bit of bread in here and run it down to that cover, or even we can just use the maggots. Just the bread's got a nice smell to it though. That's what makes me think it might be a good idea to get the bread in. It might take a few minutes again to get things going in here, like it did in that last swim. Clearly there was lots of fish in there. It took probably 10 minutes to get the first bite, so we'll be patient. Sprinkling maggots in. We'll run down to that cover, possibly be able to draw the chub out from under that cover. We'll keep putting maggots in. Not sure about the depth in here. River's down a bit, I think, from when we had that chub. You might be dragging under at that depth. We'll see what happens. Don't use this setup very often. In fact, I think I've only used it once before in this configuration, so I'm just feeling my way with it a little bit as well. Float is very sensitive. It's shotted right down. So if the maggot does trip the bottom, it does tend to pull the float under. Which is why we're getting quite a lot of what I think are false bites. Oh, see, that looks like a bite. It is a bite. I was going to say, I can't believe there's no fish in here. What we got? Little dace by the looks of it. Oh, that's a little chublet. Species number 3. Fab. Little chub. Wonderful. The water temperature is stabilised at 6.9. So that's not bad at all. Once again, we'll get them in the net so as not to spook the shoal. Well, I must admit, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Enjoying the method as much as the fish that we're catching. And that's wonderful. We're getting bites. Just what the doctor ordered this morning. Well, certainly nowhere near as prolific as that last swim in here. It's that one definite bite so far. A lot of bites like that look like bites I'm not connecting with. Perhaps we'll just go a couple of inches shallower. Let's put a bit of mash in, see if we can wake them up. But it doesn't look like there's any sort of dace or roach in here, it would appear. We'll just keep sprinkling a bit of mash in, I think, for 10 minutes before we move on. We'll keep fishing maggots though. We'll perhaps have 5 minutes on bread at the end before we do go, to see if we can't pick off a chub. Nice chub. Oh, hello. This feels a better fish. Oh, it's off. It wasn't massive, but it was definitely a better fish. Felt a bit like a roach, to be honest, the way it was jagging. Ah, that's frustrating. Well, gives me confidence to stick around. Put a bit of mash in. Perhaps that's got him out and moving. Yeah, that definitely felt like a better fish. Oh, that's very frustrating. It wasn't huge or anything, but I should have landed it. Well, at least there's some in there. It's been at least 10 minutes since we had this little chub. I've got one of these, it's like a power bank that doubles as a hand warmer as well. It's just nice to take the chill off. It's warmed up a little bit, but it's probably only about 2 or 3 degrees still. It's just nice to to refresh the hands, warm them up a bit. I can't fish in gloves. I just can't do it. I don't really like wearing gloves much at all, to be honest. I certainly can't fish in them. Right, we've gone a little bit deeper there, so we may drag under a bit, but at least we're going to be down near the bottom, which is I think where we need to be. I'm just putting a bit of mash in every few minutes, just a tiny little sort of golf ball sized bit of mash that's very runny. I just want to get some smell in the water. It's about 10:30 now. I've had a couple of hours at it. Probably have another couple of hours maybe. Perhaps another 15 minutes in here. Just see if we can get anything going. It doesn't look like there's any quantity of fish in here. There we go. That's quite a long way up the swim. Feels like a reasonable fish as well. God, we just changed over to whites, look. I'll bite off a decent fish straight away. What is this? If it's a chub, actually looks like it is. And that'd be good if we got the chub going. It is a chub. Got a nice one as well, look. Settle for that. No monster, but he pulled back. Cracking. Well, it's been worth persevering in here. There we are. A reasonable fish. Cracking. Hook's dropped out in the net. There we go. Another one. Well, changing to white maggots certainly worked. All of a sudden we're getting a few bites. A chub or a dace? A lovely dace. Blimey, he's been in the wars. Someone's been chewing him. But he's lived to tell the tale. It's not long happened that either. It didn't happen just, not on the way in, but it's not a very old wound that. Clearly something's had hold of him. Otter or a pike or cormorant, something. Well, yeah, as I say, suddenly we're getting some bites. White maggots, just that bit more visible, I think, especially with the sun trying to come out. They're probably glowing a bit. It's so white, almost glowing. Well, that could explain a lot of the missed bites. A minnow. Still, it's another species. Yeah, that does explain a lot of the missed bites. How he's managed to get that double maggot in his mouth, I have no idea. A lot of the times I'm striking, connecting with nothing. And eventually, after about probably best part of an hour in this swim, we've caught one of the culprits. Right, that's it. I'm going to move on. Certainly one more swim I want to have a go at, possibly a couple. So we'll get these fish back. We'll get moved. Not as prolific as the first swim, but we've had a few. Back you go. Gone. Right, onwards. So, yeah, did rather fizzle out that session, unfortunately, but I've had a very enjoyable time. It's been nice to do something a bit different, something a bit of light stick float work on this little river, and caught some lovely fish as well. Certainly can't complain about that, but first two swims are pretty good. Last two swims have been terrible. We spent about an hour in each one. Don't know if it's time of day or quite what, or it's the actual location, but yeah, I think I'm going to call it a day there. It's been very quiet in these last two swims. I had one little chublet in the previous swim and nothing at all in this last one. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. It's nice to do something a bit different. And yeah, to catch some fish like that after a big heavy frost as well, I'm really pleased. Now, I do fancy getting down the Avon before too long. I want to keep an eye on the Avon. It's looking like it's coming into really good condition. So yeah, we might get down the Avon next time, or we may do a similar thing perhaps on the stretches lower down to here. We'll have to keep an eye out. This river is quite low, so It's not fishing particularly well at the moment, although we've had some cracking fish today. I've really enjoyed that. Now, I want to say a big thank you to a chap called Clive. Clive has signed up to become a patron of the channel through Patreon. Thank you very much, Clive. Thank you for signing up. Clive and I have exchanged messages, and I just wanted to say on here, big thank you, Clive, and your support is much appreciated, as of course is the support of all the other patrons as well. So I think all there is left to do is to say thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Tight lines, enjoy your own angling. Many thanks to all the patrons for your support, and I'll see you again very soon.